Hello everyone, I've got a Skoda Yeti here. I've removed the gearbox because I couldn't get the reverse gear. I could get every other gear, but I couldn't get the reverse gear. I even disconnected these cables and tried to engage the reverse gear using my own hands. I could get all the gears 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no problem. But when you go to reverse, it doesn't even go in. Okay, so I've removed the gearbox. I just didn't want to bore you with the whole process of taking out the gearbox, which I've done. And now I'm going to open that gearbox. So this is our gearbox here. And I'm going to start to, taking it apart and then see why is the reverse gear not engaging when every other gear is engaging. So that rules out the clutch. When you have other gears but you don't have one gear, you can't say it's the clutch. Yeah, many drivers would think it's the clutch, but it's not. It is actually inside the gearbox. So that's what I want to determine now. So I'm going to start from the top here. I haven't even looked at a manual. I'll check the manual later on. I think our fifth gear is at the back here, so I hope I'll have the tools, with me to take apart this gearbox. If not, I'm just gonna get another gearbox and and swap it for this one. I have removed the 5 bolts that holds the back cover. Okay, that's them taken off. So if I lift that, this is what we have. So we have got our 5th gear here, and what I'm going to do next, I'll loosen that bolt, take that bolt off, and take that bolt off, and then this to pull this part. First of all, I'll put it in neutral. It doesn't seem to be neutral, and then from there I will remove these, and then I'll need to buzz that one and that one, take them out. I hope I should be able to capture this for you. Look at this oil that is coming out. Let me see. Can you see filings? You see that? Those are filings. So there's a lot of wear and tear in this thing here. Look at that. Just look at the quality of oil. You see? Right, guys, I found the bearing puller at last, and so I will yeah, you can tell it's lifting, it's breaking the torque and lifting. It is coming. I will show you what I did there. I don't want you to repeat the same mistake that I did, because that's it broken. There you go. 3-legged puller, you can't beat it. Okay, there is a needle roller bearing. Okay, so let me show you what happened. I damaged my puller. You see that? When you put it in, it keeps on going down until it starts to catch on the threads. Okay, that's why the threads are damaged like that. So what I ended up doing, I got a bolt and I put a bolt in here, and then got that one straight on top of the bolt, so that it doesn't go in. So there you go. Don't make the mistake. So this one becomes a special tool by default. So that's okay. I need now to do the same to this one. There seems to be no room on this one, but I'll figure out. I'll hit it and see, put a little bit of heat as well, and see if I can take it out with a two-legged puller. I'll show you how. So you can use the two-legged puller here, because getting them here, it's very, very difficult. So getting the three of them, one of them in here, very, very hard. So but what you need to do, you want to hold it firm so that it doesn't go this side or flip to the other side. You want to hold it straight like that, and then crank it while you're holding it straight. It comes, as you can see here. I've been doing that. See now that we are nearly there. So I'll show you what I mean. So that's a 15 spanner this side. You want to hold it so that it doesn't go. It'll be forcing you. It tries to go to the other side, but keep holding it firm. You see, you can see my hand is moving, but I'm holding it anyway. Yeah, nearly there. You can see that it's slanted. You know, that's what I mean. So if it slants too much, it'll come off. So you want to keep on giving it direction. You see, look at that. That's exactly what I mean. You see, look at that. That's what I mean. So I'm glad that happened, because that's what I'm trying to tell you to avoid. So it's very, very confined space. But where there's a wheel, there's a way. You know that, guys. You know that. There you go. That's it out. Okay. No, this is just a cloth that I was using to jam it up, you know, when I was loosening the nuts. There's nothing wrong that comes off. So that's the other gear, straight on the spline. Right, I just lifted these from here. Okay, now I can pull. I should be able to, hopefully I should be able now to lift that part. So yeah, there's nothing in there, just the oil passage. Make sure you put it back here. Okay. So this is where we wanted to get to. Right. This is where we wanted to get to and see what went wrong. These are just selectors. You have to make sure that you set them, align them, and then the selector comes through, and these come and lock in here, so to keep them in place, and then they are secure with a bolt. Okay, so put this one aside. Okay, our two shafts. Remember, the problem was this wasn't going into reverse. That's the biggest issue that we had. There was no reverse gear, and I saw like, no, this one is fine. There's no issue. Trying to find out what went wrong with this gearbox. Something broke. couldn't get it to engage the reverse like that. So I'm wondering. I picked up, some metal. Yeah, is one of them. It's just that it has got rust now, but this is one of them. It came from inside the gearbox, so that's where I want to try and figure out where did it come from, because see, now it is handy too, but I'll find out. There must be something that got chipped off or broke. Let me just take everything apart, and I was trying not to disturb the evidence there, but to be honest with you, I can't see any. See, whenever you're engaging reverse, this is the spring that you have to contend with. Whenever you push down, you're pushing against that spring there. Okay, they do it so that you don't engage reverse, when you're going forward. Yeah, that's it. That's the spring I was talking about. That's what you have to overcome. You push the lever down and then engage. Yep, you are working against that spring there. Take it off later on. So let's come to this is our input shaft. Okay, that's the input shaft. The teeth are okay on every gear, mind you. That's your input shaft, and it's a lay shaft at the same time. The gears on the lay shaft, remember, they are integral. Okay, but this side, this is where your clutch plate comes. Okay, goes on these splines, and then that's your input shaft or spigot shaft bearing. Okay, these are called taper roller bearings, right? They are taper roller bearings. So there's nothing wrong with the shaft. Now let's go to the main shaft. Okay, that's one thing that I want to show you on the main shaft. The gears are free to spin on the main shaft as long as they are not engaged. Okay, the gears can just turn, when they are not engaged. So watch out for the brassy, this brass part. That's your synchronizer. So what the synchronizer does, it brings the two. If let's say you're coming from this gear going into this one, it will break the one that you're going into, because it has been going faster. It will break it down so that it turns at the same speed as that one, and then to synchronize it to bring to the same level, same speed. So that's what a synchronizer does. If the synchronizers are worn, you're in trouble. The gears start to, it's difficult to engage the gears when the synchronizers are worn. So this is the pinion. That's the one that meshes with the crown wheel. So now we are into the differential side. Okay, now we are onto the differential side. This is our crown wheel, and this is the pinion. It is on the main shaft. These are the joys of a front wheel drive. A front wheel drive will combine all things together. You don't, if this was a rear wheel drive, this would be right back on the diff side, but no, everything is compact. It's all built into one. So that's your pinion. So your pinion drives your crown wheel, and the crown will then through the drive shafts, mind you, go in here, and then I'll take this one out and explain. So the relationship between the pinion and the crown wheel, that's what we call the final drive. Okay, it's not a diff, it's a final drive. So there's gear reduction here. To get the gear reduction, remember it's driven over driver. So this is the driver, this is driven. So driven over driver, you calculate that, you get your gear ratio. Okay, and so that will be our number 1 gear. Okay, so that will be number 2, that will be number 3, and this one will be number 4. This one will be number 4. Number 5 is the one that we took from the back. That's the one that was that was at the back here. I'll show you number 5. Bear with me there. That's our number 5 gear. Okay, it goes on this shaft here. If you remember, that's how it goes, and then that's spline 1. Okay, that's our, well, you have to put the needle roller bearings in there, right? And then we put the spline. That's our number 5. So here is the synchronizer for number 5. Okay, you can see, let me show you. Look at inside the synchronizer. You see these grooves here. Okay, oil goes in them. So as it sits there, oil will be in them, and as you push towards selecting this gear, you are increasing friction between that surface and this surface. So if these grooves are worn, your synchronizer will be doing nothing. It'll be doing nothing, and then you can't get the gears, because now you can't synchronize the gear that you are getting into with the gear that you're coming out of. So these are very, very crucial, very important, and you need to inspect them well and make sure that they are not worn. This one is beautiful. I can feel the roughness. I can even feel it in the glove. So there's nothing wrong. So what you want to do with the to know with this main shaft is that the bigger the gear, the more the torque and the less the speed. So this bigger gear is our number 1, and then so that will be number 1. We'll engage number 1. Okay, and then when it's here, we can remember these are helical gears. This is a spare gear. There's a reason why this one is a spare gear. Everything else is helical, as you can see. So the helical, it's buffed on this side because it is going to engage, because it engages with the reverse. You see that reverse there? Okay, that's the side that it goes in there. So you can see that it's also slightly worn. We engage these gears when we are not in motion. Okay, when the vehicle is not going, that's when we engage reverse and number 1. All right, and so the bigger the gear, I said, the more the torque, the less the speed. And we come to number 2. You can see number 2 is slightly smaller than number 1, and then you come to number 3 as well. It is slightly smaller than number 2, and then eventually number 4, it is slightly smaller than number 3. When we are in number 4, we are in direct drive. Okay, what comes in goes out. When we're in number 4, we are in direct drive. When we're in number 5, we are now into an overdrive. When we're in number 5, that is the gear that we find on the outside. You can see the types of bearings that are used as well here. We've got taper roller bearings, and then we have got needle roller bearings. Okay, there is another type of a needle roller, and another one inside there. That's another type of a needle roller bearing, and the other one that I showed you earlier on is another. Oh, it's it. Let's see. Just to make sure. I know the reason why I'm doing it this way. I know that students will benefit from this. So this is a type of a taper roller. Needle roller bearing, and then the taper roller bearings. Okay. And did I leave anything? Okay. So the more we come this side, the more speed we get. From this side coming down, the more torque. That's the tractive force. That's what we get as we come from towards number 1. All right. So let's look at this. There is another taper roller bearing. Let me lift then the crown wheel. Oh, I know why. I need to bear with me. I need to remove a cup on this side. Yeah. I need an Allen key and take out, this cup, lift it up, and then I can get the crown wheel to come out. Right. So you've got this bolt, it's a long bolt, okay, comes out this way, and there's a spring here, okay. You have a seal. If this seal is gonna leak, then oil will come out from the diff side, okay. So you don't want that, so you need to inspect these things. There you go. So now here is our crown wheel, and if we can inspect it together, there's nothing wrong with our crown wheel. All the teeth are good, so there's no issue. Okay, so now we come to the differential. What we refer to as the differential are these 4 gears here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so these bigger ones are called the sun gears, SUN. These are called planetary gears. Okay, and the planetary gears are carried on this pin here, right? They turn on that pin, right? And that pin, you can see that it's pushed in and secured here by a small pin there, right? If that breaks, this pin will come out and it will shatter the housing. It will damage the housing. It's very, very common with Volkswagens. Okay, that is very common with Volkswagens. And so let's check the sun gears and see, is there any issue? I don't see it. Right. So these are just the a cam here in front, and then that bolt comes through and secures. It threads into them. Okay, there's one for each side. So that's a sun gear. There's nothing wrong with it. And let me see if I can get another one. Right, so that's fine, there's no issue with that. And so to take the planet gears, we need to pull that pin out. I'm not going to do that, you know. I'll just clean these and build this gearbox together. So we have got these plastic washers that you see at the back here, okay, and so that they reduce wear and tear as well, and they also reduce movement in case of an impact from the pinion. So I'm just gonna wash those. I haven't figured out where these pieces here, these are the two. I haven't figured out where they came from, and I need to know. I need to check and see where they broke, you see. And this is a magnet, so it catches all the swath as the oil is, the gears are grinding against each other. That magnet will catch the swath. It catches all the wear and tear from the metal. If I clean it like that, you can see what I mean. Okay, that's the magnet there. So basically, this is the gearbox. That's a front wheel gearbox, front wheel drive gearbox for it's a Skoda Yeti. It's a 1.6, and it wasn't going into gear no matter what you did, even disconnecting, taking out, you know, the selector rods and doing it manually. You would not get a reverse gear. I was getting all the gears, so I ended up, because a friend of mine wanted to go for his holidays, I ended up having to buy another gearbox and put it in, because I didn't have the, what do you call it, the
caliper.
No, it's not the caliper. I didn't have the bearing puller, you know, to pull out number 5, because number 5 is at the back here, gear number 5. So I only got the bearing puller recently, so we had to quickly you know, get another gearbox and put it in, which is driving fine, I would like to say. But as for here, I need to continue searching where these two came from, because they just dropped out from the gearbox, and I'm wondering where were they, what happened. So I will find out. I will continue to, you know, to chase and look on. Maybe I need to look with eagle eyes. And then it feels to me like it's the housing, because that looks aluminium, and it feels like it came from a housing. But if I'm looking at this is perfectly good. I don't see anything broken here. Yeah, everything on this side is fine, and this side, don't know if I need glasses, but I don't see where these bits came from. So what happened? It remains a mystery. For now, it is a mystery. It just came right straight from there. I lifted this and then all these fell out. So they were, I'm wondering, let me clean this and see. So all these pieces were lodged in here, and that is actually what guides the selector fork. Okay, and it goes in here. See that? And then the selector fork comes from that side, and all this stuff is falling out from there. So the next thing I want to see, where exactly did they break out from? Because still, when I clean this part, I don't see any yes, they were lodged in here. Where did they come from? They must have come from somewhere, because I can assure you they didn't break. So the search continues. We've got more pieces, but still I don't see exactly where these came from. I'm trying to build a shape here. You can see this is like a spacer, okay, and it's a round spacer. I'm not quite sure. Right, I'm appealing to you, Volkswagen guys, right? Please let us know what broke here, because it looks to me it was a spacer. And where does it go? If you know, judging from what I'm trying to build up here, from the bits and pieces that I managed to salvage, you can see that all this is the other parts that have been ground and now until they're like that. Okay, so let us know in the comment box there what you think, whether this was a spacer or a washer or whatever it is, where it goes. Let me know. These pieces lodged themselves into the reverse gear, and we couldn't get a reverse gear until they dropped out. Then you could get a reverse gear. So that's what caused me to be where I am now, dismantling this gearbox the way it is right now. It's because I could not get a reverse, and I found out this was the cause, because the moment I opened the gearbox, I broke, the torque here on the housing. One of the metals just fell off, but most of these metals had lodged themselves in here, simply because the gearbox sits like that. This is the top, this is the bottom, and this guide here, this bracket, that's the guide for our selector shaft, okay, is the one that was, they were accumulating themselves in here. But to really find out where they are coming from, at the moment, I don't want to lie to you, I can't see exactly where this broke off from, but maybe until I get a manual, I should be able to. I thought it should be through visual inspection, I should be able to tell, but as you can see, the housing is perfectly fine. I don't see any cracks or any sign of something that broke. I don't see it. Even if you come to this side, I don't see anything here suspicious. So where did this come from? That's a big question. So I leave it with you, those who want to ask about, you know, different components and, you know, synchronizers and bearings and, you know, pinions. You feel free to send us your questions as well. But look, appreciate your time. Thank you very much for supporting Jambro's Electronic Solutions. Please continue to subscribe so that the channel can continue to grow.